Hello, this is How To Bob, and it's time to change the oil in my 6-liter Powerstroke diesel. So I'm going to need a few tools. First, I'll need a 36mm socket. I'll need a 19mm socket and a flat blade screwdriver. So let's get started under the truck. You'll find the drain plug in the center of the car, about between the driver and the passenger seat right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by loosening the drain plug now that I have my drain pan in place. And I want to make sure that I have a drain pan that will hold at least 15 quarts of oil, since that's how much oil the Powerstroke 6-liter diesel will hold. Okay, I'm going to let that drain for a little bit so I can get all the oil out of my pan. And while that's draining, I'll go ahead and remove my oil filter located right here in the back of the engine compartment in the center. And to do that, I'm going to use my 36mm socket and just turn it counterclockwise and remove the cap. You notice when I get this loose, it's slightly spring-loaded. I'm going to go ahead and pull the filter up, but I'm going to keep it over top of the oil filter housings just so it can drain out. And this is another reason that I left the oil drain plug open in the bottom, so that some of this oil, if it happens to make its way down to the oil pan, it'll drain out. Now, this oil filter is attached to the cap, and to remove it, just gently pull it apart from the cap and it snaps off. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that in my new filter box and get ready to put the new one in so I can discard that. Now that I've waited a little while, I can go ahead and put my drain plug back in. So I'm going to go back underneath the truck and put that in hand tight first. Make sure that it's not cross-threaded. I'm going to go ahead and tighten the oil drain plug. And the torque specifications for this drain plug is between 15 and 22 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, now it's time to get out the oil. I need 15 quarts of 15W40 oil and a FL 2016 oil filter. Now the next thing I'm going to do is replace this O-ring that goes around my oil filter cap. The new oil filter will come with one, so what I'm going to do is just take my flat blade screwdriver and gently pull out the O-ring. It should be fairly easy to pull out, and you'll see that it's kind of flat on one side. So we're going to go ahead and replace it with the new one that should come with the new oil filter. I'm going to wrap the O-ring around the new cap, and I want to make sure that it gets in the groove and seats in there correctly so that I get the best possible seal. Then I want to get some motor oil, some of my new oil, and I want to rub it around the outside, around the O-ring area. That'll keep it from sticking to the filter housing, and it'll give it a good seal. The next thing I'm going to do is take my oil filter and just push it up into the cap. It'll snap into place and it'll be held tightly there, and I'm ready to put that on. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the area where the O-ring is going to sit, and you can see here this is where the spring loaded comes from. But before I put my oil filter in, I'm going to go ahead and pour some oil into the oil filter housing. This is a whole lot easier because the opening for the oil filter is larger than the fill tube that's provided by Ford. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my oil in here. I know how much I need. I need 15 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and put a good majority of it in here because it takes it a lot quicker than it does through the filler tube. Okay, now that I've got a good portion of my oil put in. I'm going to go ahead and put the oil filter in. Again, it's spring loaded, so you just slightly push down, and you want to start it by hand. Make sure that the threads are not cross-threaded and you don't damage the cap. Now once I've got my oil filter cap tightened by hand, I can go ahead and use my 36mm socket, and you want to tighten that to 19 foot-pounds of torque using your torque wrench. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put the rest of the oil in, and I'm going to do that through the oil filler, which is located again towards the back of the engine, and I'm just going to stick a funnel in there to help me get the oil into the engine. I've already put quite a few quarts of oil in, so really all I'm doing is topping this off and adjusting how much oil I have in there. And once I get my 15 quarts, I'm going to go ahead and check the oil level and put in a little bit more if necessary. And to check it, here's your oil dipstick. It's a very long oil dipstick because it goes way down in the engine. So I'm going to pull that out, clean it off, stick it back in, and I'm going to check the level. It should be between the two marks. So I put it back in, pull that back out, and look at the tip, and it looks like it's right on the money. So I'm good to go. And this is how you change the oil in a Ford Powerstroke 6-liter diesel. This is How to Bob. Thanks for watching.